What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fam, 49er gang? This your boy 49er Dion here, back with another video, man. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on them post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, let's get right into it. So today was a bit of a day, man. A lot of the beat writers for the 49ers are reporting that Shanahan was just a little bit frustrated with his offense. Looks like the offense was having a bad day and the defense was having a great one. Now, all of this was done without Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, K'Wan Williams, Dee Ford, Juice, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle on the field. So with Kittle out, obviously they went ahead and threw Jordan Reed in with the ones to be able to get some reps. Reed caught himself a couple of TD passes. He caught one from Jimmy, and then he caught another one from, I believe it's either I think it was CJ Beathard. But basically, they're just working everything out. They asked Kyle about the backups in his interview, and Kyle said that the backups were tied, which is what he's always going to say. You'll never catch a coach go ahead and give one guy a leg up on the other in competition. Personally, to me, the number two is obviously Nick Mullins. We know that CJ Beathard is number three. There's no doubt about that. One interesting thing that I took from the interviews today was TC had an interview, and I didn't know he had shoulder surgery in the offseason. I mean, he's still looking good out there, but I had no clue that he had surgery. That was definitely something different. But it Kyle and CJ both look good. You know, he's saying that Kyle says CJ and Nick both look good out there. From what I've heard from Grant Cohn, CJ's been looking like hot garbage, through most of training camp. But I mean, he's the third stringer. Like, I don't expect him to be the guy that everybody, falls all out over. And I'm not saying CJ isn't a good quarterback. I'm just saying he's not great. And you don't want somebody who can't take you to the promised land. You got to remember, under CJ's watch, bro, we lost a lot of close games. And I know that there was a lot of times where the defense was folding down on us, but yeah, think about it, man. That man won one game. One. Nick Mullins came in and won 4 or 3. I think it was 3 or 4, but that was hard. So Jauan Jennings, from what people are saying, he had a pretty bad day. Dropped the third down pass, and then he wound up getting intercepted by none other than a guy's name we haven't heard much about, Jared Maiden. Now, the reason that you might wonder why I kind of look like that when I said Jared Maiden is because if you watch Jauan Jennings highlights, just look it up on YouTube. Just look at his highlights just from college. The man's a beast. There was one game in particular where he got shut down. And there was one person in particular that did that. That was that quiet assassin, Jared Maiden. Jared Maiden had made him look like hot garbage when they played against Tennessee, man. He put Jauan Jennings on the back burner, man. He didn't even exist that game. Jennings was almost AWOL. But it looks like the defense had themselves a wonderful day, even without all of the starters. The guys that were making a lot of noise were Kerry Hyder, and who we picked up as a free agent in this offseason, and Solomon Thomas, actually. So the right side of the offensive line is where we're struggling, and the reason that we're struggling on the right side is not because of Mike McGlinchey, people. The reason we're struggling on the right side is because we have Daniel Brunskill playing center, and Tom Compton is worthless as shit as guard. So, I mean, by all accounts, from what I've heard of Tom Compton, he has not had a great training camp. And this is another situation where Shanahan just brings in one of his guys and gives him a job. And, I've said this before, and, this is always going to be my opinion. I don't care for when he does that. I don't like it. Because you put guys at a disadvantage. Because you bring in these dudes and you're like, oh, they were familiar with my system. Yeah, from years ago. And you've altered that system since then. Your system continually evolves. And Tom Compton was a shitty ass fucking guard, that was playing tackle when he was with the Jets. Like, he was with the Jets. The Jets had the last ranked fucking offense in the league last year. In the league. but you bring in one of their offensive linemen. This is almost as bad as one of our very few offseason moves from the worthless ass piece of shit GM that we had, known as Trent Baalke, that brought in Zane fucking Beadles. Zane Beadles, people, you remember him? Brought him in from the worthless Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line, and he ain't do much of nothing. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you can't bring in your guys and think that every time it's one of your guys, it's going to work. Like, he signed all these goddamn receivers and all these people, their camp bodies, and not all these dudes are going to make the squad. You got to think about it. You're going to stash a few people on the practice squad. You'll have a few dudes that will basically be guys that might slip onto the roster. Tavon Austin had himself a nice little day. So with Austin having, I believe they said he had about 5-6 catches and a couple of TDs. Austin might sneak onto the roster. You never know. You know what I'm saying? He looks a lot older, and I don't know if he still has it. I don't know if he still got that quick twitch speed. But, I mean, when he was first drafted, his quick twitch and the dynamics that he brought to the field were the reason he was drafted. So you have guys out there that are pushing hard to try to make this squad. We had cut a couple of people. I don't remember who they were, but I kind of figured I don't need to remember who they are because they were not insignificant. They got cut, so obviously they wasn't going to make it any damn way. We waived one dude who was injured, but, you know, Dante Pettis had like a nice little catch, but he ain't been doing much. Jason Verrett had himself a day. A couple of strong pass breakups, you know, one on Jordan Reed, and I mean, he seems to be coming along a little bit better than anticipated. You know, most people are saying he hasn't been having a great training camp, but I mean, hey, by all accounts, you know, at least if he has a good day, that's great. I know he is pushing to play that right cornerback spot. Every now and then you see them switch Sherm up and have him on the left, have him on the right. And I think this is going to be the year that you see these DBs become interchangeable. They may guard certain receivers. You might see Sherm travel for the first time in his career. And if he does, it's not because he wasn't capable before people. It's because he was doing his fucking job. What kills me about people is I remember when he got back and forth with that spat with Darrelle Revis. Oh, I got Revis Island, and, you know, I travel. I find the best receiver in the competition. I go after him. Sherm had the greatest response ever. You go to your job, tell your boss how you gonna do your job, and see how long you have a job. It wasn't that Sherm couldn't travel. Sherm played his spot, and he played his position in a defense that basically helped them win. The Legion of Boom was nasty, man. There were times they got beat. Sherm has never been like a speedster, so he doesn't keep up with your Julio Jones and your DeAndre Hopkins, your Brandon Cooks, your Marquise Goodwins. Like, when you get a super fast receiver, they're going to burn him, you know, because he's not one of those dudes that has to be, he's not that fast. He never has been. That's never been his thing. It's not his forte. Sherm's thing is he is a great cover corner, and he is a cerebral assassin when it comes to, you know, diagnosing plays and knowing what the offense is going to be doing. So you got to give him credit for that much. And that has helped him along in his career. And at that time that him and Darrelle Revis were beefing, he technically speaking was a better DB than Darrelle Revis. I mean, Revis had like a couple little pass breakers, but I mean, just from sheer numbers at that time, I remember because this was back when First Take still had Stephen A. and Skip Bayless. And he went and tore Skip Bayless a brand new one because Skip Bayless was talking all kinds of crap. So for me, you know, you'll see those DBs interchangeable. You'll see them moving around. You see them doing different things. Why? Because they will make sure that Tony Oden, this new DB coach, man, he wants to make sure they play more man defense, and he's probably going to ask that Sherm follow the top receiver around to be able to hold that person down so they don't get on the other side and take advantage of one of these young DBs. Now, Jason Verrett, if he can fight enough to be able to get that second cornerback spot away from Emmanuel Mosley, then maybe, yeah, you know, you might not have to have Sherm travel. Because why? You have two Pro Bowl caliber cornerbacks out there that can take care of any receiver on the side. And as long as K1 comes back healthy for week 1, then shit, we good. He'll take care of anybody in the slot. He's the best nickel corner in the game. I say that all the time, and I always dare people to challenge me. And I've never been challenged on that, so obviously I'm right. Um, but I think Eman Mosley still got that right cornerback spot on lock. He will be the second DB on the field. I think they want Jason Verrett so bad to be as great as he once was, but I mean, let's just keep our fingers crossed and nothing happens with the guy, because injury-prone players are just what they are, injury-prone, and you can't really help that. We've got a ton of different injuries. I think we got like 14 to 16 players that are injured. Most of these guys should be back for week one. You'll probably see them all shut down for the rest of training camp. They'll give them their times. They'll continue to receive their little treatments and whatever. Somebody's going to work on hamstrings. Somebody's going to work on calves. All these things will work out. I mean, the only guys you're probably going to see that are not going to start the season is Weston Richburg, because he's most likely going to start the season on the PUP list, and possibly Richie if they even allow him to even be on the squad. They might try to stash him on the practice squad because ain't nobody going to come after Richie James Jr. It's not to say that he's not a great receiver or that he can't, that he's not capable. It's just that he hasn't flashed in the offense for someone to come and go, I need that guy off the practice squad. So he'll clear waivers if anything. But those are just a few quick hitters from today. As more information and more news comes in, I'll hit you guys with that. I believe next Friday we have to cut down to our I believe it's not 53 anymore for the life of me right now. I don't know why it escapes me. We're supposed to have I don't know, damn it. But basically we got to cut down to the final roster. We got to put our practice squad players there. I believe it says something like 69 because they only have 80 players. I think that's it. 69, so you'll have the extra guys on the practice squad and a couple extra guys that are active on game day, because I believe it's supposed to go up to having 46 active on the 53-man roster. It's either 46 or 49. For the life of me, I cannot remember this right now. I don't know why it's escaping me. I'm usually good on this, but basically we'll be cutting those guys down, and I can tell you right now, most of these dudes we sign, they're gonna be out the damn dough. We done gave them a little bit of money and they good. That's it. You know what I'm saying? A couple of cats made a little free money off Jed York and the Niners, and they got to say, hey, I was in training camp for a little bit. But I did see something that was a little interesting. One reporter said that Shawn Poindexter, who lives on the goddamn practice squad, and Dante Pettis moved ahead of Jawan Jennings. Are you fucking serious? Shawn Poindexter, a guy who can never stay healthy, a guy who lives on the practice squad, has moved ahead of Jawan. Come on now. Jennings has been having himself a hell of a camp, and I don't know how people figure one day is this going to be the end of the world. Like, to me, that shows that you don't know football very well and you're a little confused. You have to be smarter than that. You can't just automatically think one day in somebody's career. The only person that had a couple of bad days, several, was Salvon Ahmed, and he is no longer on the squad. He had some fumbling issues. So they let him go. They said, hey, we ain't about to deal with that this year. But that's just the quick hitters for right now, man. I don't want to take up too much of your time. You guys have yourself a blessed day. Continue to stay healthy. Take your elderberry. It's got a good balance of zinc and vitamin C in there. And stay healthy, stay fit, and nothing will stop you. And I'm out.